Hello, Long Island. I'm Donna Drake. I know you were expecting to see David Gussin and Jodi Jacobs. Well, Jodi's on vacation and David is stuck in the blizzard. But I know he's on his way. So when he does come in, if he comes in before the end of the show, I will be putting a microphone on him, as well as Eugenia Karahalios, and it's her birthday today. But with me in the studio today, I'm so happy because I have one of our dear friends, Dr. Dan Schaefer. Welcome to the show.
Great to be back with you, Donna.
So nice to see you.
You too.
Oh.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, we've known each other for a while.
98.
And you are a performance enhancement coach.
Performance consultant.
Okay, performance consultant.
Right.
To help people live at their very peak.
Develop strategies to win.
Okay.
It's all about winning.
And you work with sports people celebrities, businesses.
Kids, people that need to take exams for LSATs or bar exams. Anybody who has one shot at the next thing they're going into. That's the kind of thing we're dealing with. People who know that my next presentation, my next deal, I have one shot at it.
And then the next time an opportunity comes up, there's always like one more shot though, right?
There's always one more shot.
But for each moment in life, you're preparing them to do their very best?
It's preparing to compete.
Okay.
If people are prepared to compete the way professional athletes prepare to compete, I think they get a lot different results. And then there's a lot of other things that are going on today, the way the brain works, but I don't know how much you want to go into right up front here.
Well, just a general overview would be good. Because ideally what I want to do is I want to highlight and shine some light on who you are and why people want to work with you. I know personally, I do attribute a lot of my success to meeting you so many years ago.
Thank you.
And your wonderful book that you have called Click.
Thank you. Thank you.
And there's somebody knocking at the door.
That's what we expected.
Who could it be? I don't know. The door's open, isn't it? No, the door's locked.
Somebody with a
One moment.
This is definitely live TV.
It is live television. I like it kind of. It's kind of fun. In a blizzard. Okay, hold on. Let's see who we have. Dr. Dan. With us now is Dr. David Gussin. Well, I just gave him a doctor title. How are you, my friend?
Hello.
Welcome.
How are you?
Welcome to your show. Come on in. Sit right down. We're live.
We're live?
We are live.
And what beautiful camera am I looking at?
Well, you're looking at, you're going to...
Hello, Long Island. I hope you can hear me without my microphone.
David, good to see you.
Hello, Dr. Dan. How are you?
Mwah. Okay, so I'm going to get you mic'd up. Actually, I'll give you my mic.
Get me mic'd up, Donna Drake, so we can take care of our Long Island audience today.
So here you are behind the scenes at what happens in live television.
Well, it happens when it unexpectedly snows. Where was all the weather?
Okay, have a seat, sir.
Thank you, Donna Drake.
You're welcome.
Hello, Long Island. My name's David Gussin, and I apologize for being late. How are you today? And next to me, we have Dr. Dan Schaefer. Hi,
David,
Dan. How are you?
We spoke in the car on the way out, sitting in traffic, both of us.
But buddy, this is my first appointment I've been late to in 7 years since I've been doing 516ads.com. And for such a professional, I apologize to you.
You're welcome. Come on, you don't
Let's get things in order. Co-host Jodi Jacobs is in Florida. Jodi, I will not forgive you for that. Guest co-host and birthday girl, Eugenia Karahalios, she's on her way in. She's stuck on the Sunken Meadow, but we are here today. Let's see, what should we talk about first? Before we get to Dr. Dan, what are we clicking, Donna? What are we doing, sweetie?
I had already introduced him. We were starting to talk about his book, but how about if you do what's coming up at the end of the show?
We'll do all that stuff. First of all, Dr. Dan, it is my honor to have you on the show today.
Thank you.
For years, we passed each other by, and I've always wanted to gain your respect. Why wouldn't I? Here you are. Dr. Dan, he's a performance coach. And there's a lot of coaches out there, but Dr. Dan, he's been a performance coach for NFL athletes, Olympic athletes. He's actually even worked for our government helping people with stress relief and actually bereavement relief for our military. He's exactly the type of man, when we talk about bringing on quality people in the community, it's people like Dan Schaefer that we like to bring on.
Thanks, David.
Now, Dan, have you ever seen my show? Have you ever seen the show?
No, I've never seen the show.
The way we usually do it, buddy, is I first of all have a beautiful co-host, Jodi Jacobs.
Okay.
So first of all, the show is already much worse since she's not here. Me and you are nice guys, but we're no Jodi Jacobs.
Okay.
And then we let the people know about all the different events coming up in the Long Island business community for the week.
Okay.
And then we bring on guests like yourself to hopefully bring some wisdom to our Long Island audience.
Thank you.
Dan, what's this book? Show me your book. Click. Now, you've written more than one book.
That book, the first book I wrote that's out in its 4th edition, is a book on helping parents explain death to children. It's called How Do We Tell the Children? It's a guide to giving parents communication strategies under stressful situations to communicate with their kids. And it's gone from that into school systems. I've worked with school systems. I work with the government, with the Pentagon on military loss. But again, I work with people too on September 11th. But the fact is that we look at the impact that bereavement has on errors, omissions, accidents, and safety. What kind of obstacles are out there for people who are grieving and aren't getting the type of care? There's a tremendous amount of people in this community who are able to help people who are grieving.
Yes, unfortunately, I was reading an article yesterday, and it wasn't Long Island. It was the New York City public schools, and you know, I guess all the stress children are going under, and actually taking, in the last 3 years, 35 New York City public school children have taken their own lives.
Absolutely.
Yet at the same time, the part of the budget that's been cut is social workers in the school. It might seem like very little, but say it went from 5,800 to 5,300. You know, those people are the front lines. They shouldn't be the front lines. Homes should be the front lines. Parents are the front lines. But after that,
right,
schools are the secondary
Absolutely.
line. There's been a cut, and to me, it's not a school issue, guys. It's a societal issue. You're an expert on similar type things. What's your thought?
I couldn't agree with you more. At the end of the day, the people under most stress to deal with children, regardless of what they are, is parents. And so how do you get information? I've always believed, years ago when I published the first book, that schools should have a system in place to prepare teachers to deal with, not on a therapeutic level, but to be able to deal with the situations that children are in and help them understand what's going on. Parents are poorly prepared for that because they just don't have any training. So what the first book was meant to do is to give parents the tools immediately to help deal with kids when somebody has died initially. The second edition had to do with when somebody was dying in a family. The third edition had to do with traumatic loss, you know, automobile accidents, homicides. I work with parents of murdered children, that group, to help them, give them tools to be able to deal with things that are really horrific situations. But they have to deal with them because it's your kids.
Now then, after you work with children, then the government got a hold of you. You started working with soldiers?
We started looking at military survivors, police survivors, anybody who has to deal with loss. And I always believe that the focus is if the community could understand, had a better understanding of what a person's experience was like when they experienced a loss, the community would create an environment that allowed the person to heal. This is not something where somebody goes to a therapist and they come back fixed. Bereavement's a process. And how people deal with that, they need to know what's normal, that what they're dealing with is normal. And they have to be in an environment that understands and allows them to deal with that.
Dan, we were speaking the other day at breakfast, and it's good it was breakfast because between me and you, it could have went to breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Right.
We kept chatting away.
Exactly.
And you just used the word process. And at lunch, I mentioned it to you, and I just want to mention it to our viewers. I always try to pick up the best things as I network or go around and participate in smart business activity across Long Island. And a few years ago, and we were speaking about it Friday, the difference between a problem and a predicament. And I was mentioning to you that day how I thought it was important. I know it helped me.
I like your description.
And how it helps others. Guys, there's a difference between a problem and a predicament, and this is how it was described to me. Your tie is crooked. I fixed it for you. Your tie's crooked. It's a problem. I fixed it. Problem solved.
Right.
The light goes out on the television set behind us. I fixed it. Problem solved. People like to be problem solvers. Most people that I run into and we run into in this business community, they're nice people, a lot of problem solvers. You see a problem, you fix it. A predicament can't be fixed. A predicament has to be managed. See, you can't fix a predicament. A predicament is 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And when it was explained to me, it took a pressure off me. Because as a person who likes to solve problems, when I wasn't solving them, I felt bad. I felt like I failed, like I didn't fix it.
Absolutely.
But that little difference between knowing the difference between a predicament and a problem sort of took a pressure off because I realized I can't fix everything. Problem I could fix.
Right.
Predicament I have to manage, or it's a process, as you said.
And that's what the whole bereavement discussion was that we had, is the fact that people think it can be cured. It's not an illness. They feel it can be cured, but it can't be cured. It takes time, it takes understanding, but it also takes being in an environment that allows you to heal.
I hear the whole life there's that saying, time heals all wounds. I'm no expert. I don't actually believe that. That's certainly not a fact. But you being an expert, does it alleviate wounds or not even necessarily so?
I don't think it does. I think that people who have a significant loss of a child, it never, ever, ever goes away. The point is that people understand what they can expect. So, for example, you come up to religious holidays. People have to prepare to be dealing with what their feelings are going to be like in that environment when they come to a holiday dinner and somebody's not there. So how are they going to deal with that? To know that it's normal to do that and have everybody who's going to be there understand that that's exactly what has to happen. That you have to create an environment that allows a person to feel, people have to be allowed to feel terrible.
You're allowed to feel bad.
Yeah, you're allowed to feel bad.
And everyone does it in their own way. Some people,
Different
they
than
want to
others.
beat it themselves. I know for me and many I know, when we're feeling bad, we actually stay away from others. And the reason we try to stay away from them is we don't want our bad feelings inside of us to rub off on others. Is that a common thing that you see, sir?
That happens, but it's too, people want to stay away. They stay away from an environment that they're not understood in. That's to begin with. But there's another dimension that people want you to feel better, certainly because they want you to feel better, but they want you to feel better so it's easier for them to be with you.
Do they know that at the time? Or at the time, I think they might just want you to feel. Everyone's different, but they just want you to feel better.
People want the silver bullet. What can I say to somebody who's just had a loss and make them feel better? Well, the answer is nothing. The only thing you could do to make somebody really feel better who's had a loss is to bring that person back. Since you can't do that, then you have to create an environment that lets that person feel terrible. I gave you an example. I was in an art opening some years ago out in the Hamptons, and we had a glass of wine. We were standing in a parking lot, and a woman said to me, I said to her, "How are you doing today?" So she said, "I feel terrible." I said, "Why?" She said, "This is the anniversary of the death of my father." So I said, "You must really feel like garbage," or what, So she said to me, "I do, but nobody lets me. Nobody lets me feel terrible. I need to be able to feel terrible."
And so that's just a time thing.
It's a time thing. It never goes away. The fact that somebody says, "I want this to be over, get it over with," doesn't go away.
Now, Dan, you started with hypnotherapy, and then as I had mentioned, the government took you. You work with soldiers, but nowadays in Long Island, you work with a variety of people. But as I was saying, from NFL athletes to world-class athletes to CEOs of big corporations,
Right.
They bring you in, I guess, to consult them in some ways.
I deal today with people who want to win, regardless of whether it's a person selling a multi-billion-dollar company who's going into a negotiation who wants to win, to a professional athlete. I know we talked, my book, Chad Pennington wrote the forward to my book. I worked with Chad since 2005.
We like Chad. Go Jets.
And Anthony Beck. And then a lot of other athletes and professional hockey players, soccer players. But it's on-field. With athletes, it's on-field performance and off-field behavior. With student athletes, which is critical today, it's on-field performance, academic excellence so that they can stay eligible to play, and then off-field behavior. And it makes what I do with kids today and professional athletes, and this is one thing that Chad commented on, is I have a concept in a book called You Incorporated, where a person sees himself as a CEO of their own company. They become responsible for everything, their own public relations, their own self-development. So if you have a kid who's a high school athlete and he dreams that he wants to be playing in college, he has, and he sees himself as a CEO of his own company, then he realizes that every decision he makes is a business decision. What he eats, what he drinks, what he smokes, who he's seen with, who takes his picture, what he puts up on Facebook. God help us with these kids with what they put up on Facebook. Because they have to realize that nothing is going to happen in their future where somebody is not going to Google them or go back to the internet to find out what they said, what they did, how they put themselves out there. And it becomes important. So you can make a tremendous mistake now that can cost you way out into the future. We try to prevent that.
Well, you're dealing with parents and kids, and even the best kids in the Long Island region, or best kids in any state.
Right.
The reality, and you're talking to them, and you're dealing with the best kids, but at the same time, even the #1 baseball draft pick often doesn't even make it to the major leagues.
Right.
It's a different sport.
Right.
Into your repertoire, are you not just training them in life, but the odds are that even though they're the best right now at their youth, they might not make it? Are you looking at an overall picture? You're
Sure.
looking for the ones that are going pro?
No, I think the thing is, anybody, I'm working right now with 3 kids who are in 14. They're in 8th grade going into high school. One's an incredible basketball player. One young man has made his varsity tennis team as an 8th grader coming into school.
That's when you know
and,
you're good.
and I'm working with another kid who's a hockey player. These kids may not go there, but I will tell you something. I mean, I have 5 kids, very fortunate. They're very successful kids. But what's happened is every one of them has been selected for what they did and benefited by their training in athletics. The desire to win, recovery when you get knocked down. You know, lacrosse players who get knocked down don't stay on the ground, they get right up. Today in business, you have to get up. But today there's something else going on, is that kids who are in school are looking out after college and saying, how am I going to be able to get a job here? What am I going to be able to do? And one of the things that I would encourage is people to really talk about looking at some type of an internship awareness on Long Island, so the kids that get out that need internships can get them. I have 3 people now that are waiting for law internships.
Law internships.
Yeah, I spoke to somebody the other day. Her daughter is going into college. She's going to need an internship. She said, I'll wait till next summer. I said, no, you need to start to plug into the Long Island network now to tell people that you have somebody who's very capable and who can come in and they can recruit them.
I never
early.
thought a man like you I can help with anything, but I believe with the Long Island network that we're all involved in, there's a chance that me and you will talk after the show and maybe help get some of these interns some positions, as we do deal with a lot of legal and other companies in Long Island.
I did a program for a college, and a young woman came up to me after the program was over, and she said to me, I'm the top tennis player in this school, this college, and she said, I need to get an internship. She said, I set out 10 letters for internships. I didn't get a response. I said, you're not going to get one. I said, but the 2 people that are with me, I said, if you talk to them, they know so many people. So the people watching this program who know at some point in time are going to need, their children are going to need internships, if they have businesses, they want to contact somebody like you, a network, and say, I need an intern. Can you connect me to somebody? So if we build a network, a growing community of people who provide internships for kids and making it available to people who are in the community to know that we can get internships, because I'll tell you, it's not easy.
No, not easy, but I must say my mom to this very day, and she's almost pushing 80, she still remembers 30 years ago when she had interns at an office that she managed in the city, and to this day the young lady who started as a high school intern still writes her several times a year, comes by at least once a year, and
Sure.
To this day, gives my mom credit for leading on to the path
Sure.
how she became an executive.
Sure.
Dan, I want to take your expertise and try to apply it to the Long Island business community. In fact, we'll talk about some events. Today it's snowing, Mother Nature, no events that I know of. Tomorrow night we're going to be honoring a man you know, John Hill, at
John.
the LIASB.
Right.
He's from the LIASB. We're going to be honoring him at Carlisle at the Palace. I don't know if you know a woman named Debbie Viola. You might have heard her name in our circles.
Yes.
You'll appreciate this. Debbie was a quiet woman and still is a quiet woman. But in the last 5 years, she's been voted Long Island's #1 artist. Didn't even know she was an artist. She was a legal secretary, as a matter of fact. But did some paint work in her house. Anyway, on the 3rd, which is Thursday, Debbie's going to be featured at Bloomingdale's over at the Garden City Mall. And let's see, we have the Caribbean Business Network in between on Tuesday. And am I missing any events? If I am, we'll get back to them. Forgive me for the snow, but you deal with CEOs, world-class athletes. I deal with the Long Island business community. I deal with hard-working business people, a lot of solo entrepreneurs and small business owners. 95% of Long Island business is small business owners. You get paid hundreds and thousands of dollars to be a consultant. I got you here. I need some free advice. Give me the top 3 tips in your mind for business owners in Long Island and around the country.
Comes back to personal stuff. How they talk to themselves. Do they have goals and objectives? Every one of my clients today is in 2019 working backwards. I only work backwards. You say to anybody watching this program, imagine I gave you a magic wand and you waved it, where do you see yourself in 2019? And as you find yourself working backwards, you'll look for things that can get in your way. I also work with, when people ask me what I do, I tell them frequently that I sell mistakes. It's a lot less expensive to buy mistakes from somebody else than to make them yourself. So tied in with 2019, you'll look backwards from then to now and say, what could I possibly do to foul up my business? And you know that in advance. There are some other things that are going on today. People today who are trying to market themselves, sell themselves, are using Sales 101, which is very valuable to kids coming out. But again, what needs to happen is they've done some research in the last 15 to 20 years about how the brain works. And they've discovered that everybody who you're speaking to, everybody who your people from Long Island business are speaking to, have an area in the brain that's full of resistance. And it's predictable. Skepticism, reactance, and inertia. They're skeptical about what you say that you can help them with 516 ads or 631 ads. Reactance is they don't want to be sold, and inertia is all the things they need to do to change. When those changes are made, they have to decide what's it going to cost me to make the change, what's it going to cost me not to make the change. But it's getting a 1,000-foot view of their business and the future of their business, where they want it to be, and working in that direction.
Yeah, I find a lot of, I know myself, that idea of looking forward into 2019, I'm looking forward to what I'm doing after the show today, never mind in 2019 or the show. Do a lot of people have difficulties with that? Is there a way to train yourself to look at it that way?
Well, it's very interesting.
I'm often in the moment, and I believe a lot of people are similar to that.
Everybody really has to stay in the moment. I think really what happens is that this is not goal setting for 2019. This is empowering and activating your subconscious mind to move in that direction. When your subconscious mind must act out every thought, image, or idea you put into it. So when you say dream about 2019, somebody dreams it, they start to find it as they get closer and closer. Their subconscious mind provides them with connections and ways of thinking that are different. See, I have a statement on the back of my business card that says, every day and every way I get better and better and better. I tell people you say that 10 times a night, 60 days straight, just before you go to sleep. Why do you do that? Because the last thing you think about before you go to sleep is repeated over and over by your subconscious mind. So why not do something that you know no one else is going to be doing? When one of my athletes walks onto a field, they know that nobody on that field is doing what they're doing. And they have an edge. And that's what people need today. They want the competitive edge, and they want to win.
Yeah, and when you're an athlete on the field, another thing important for a great team is you have to have faith in your teammates. A lot of time in the office, people think if they don't do it themselves, it won't get done, which means they got to do everything. The reality is they can't do everything. So whether you're looking to build a great sports team or whether you're looking to build a great team, one of the important things is to have faith in your teammates and make the adjustments along the way. Dr. Dan, I got a smile on my face. I got a smile on my face because our snow-delayed co-host is here. Where's she sitting?
Oh, good to see you.
Man, Dr. Dan, you know Eugenia Carahalias?
Sure, I know Eugenia, sure.
Did you know she's a hypnotherapist?
Sure I did. I went to her.
Did you know he's a hypnotherapist?
Yeah. Yep.
Did you know it's her birthday?
Happy birthday.
Man,
Can we
happy
sing?
birthday to you. Yeah, let's do it together.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Eugenia. Happy birthday to you.
Hey.
Thank you. I'm not going to so much.
Where's my birthday kiss? Your birthday kiss. Dr. Dan and Jeannie. Dr. Dan, you work with teams all the time. Jeannie works. You guys, I let each other chat. But there's always been a saying that bothers me. And I'm not an expert. I'm a regular guy that doesn't know anything, and I come up here and talk. But you're an expert. We've lived in a society for generations where nice guys finish last.
Right.
That to me, a whole generation, maybe generations, have been brought up with the philosophy of nice guys finish last.
Right.
And I think they mean it mostly in business, like you can't be a nice guy, you got to do whatever it takes to get ahead. To me, that is a horrible philosophy to be over society, because it's saying that to succeed, you can't be a nice guy. What do you think, buddy?
I had a client who was in a huge bowling tournament out in Vegas.
Was he a nice guy?
He was a very nice guy. He was an older guy. He was retired, had a lot of money, and he went out. He got in a huge tournament, And he went out and he said to me, this was 18 years ago, he said, I paid $5,000 to get into this tournament. He said, I came in second. I said, why did you come in second? He said, I'll tell you what happened. He said, the guy I was playing against was a young guy who was traveling around the country in a camper with his wife and 2 kids. The wife and 2 kids came in and they sat in the stands watching us bowl. He said, every time I got up to bowl, I'd look up, I'd see the wife and 2 kids. He said, I was retired. This kid was trying to make his living. He said, I think I lost because I didn't want to take food out of the mouths of those kids. Wow. I said to him, you see this, right? So I said, well, good guys finish last. But you mentioned something a minute ago about being in a moment that I want to show you, because I think maybe your viewers would appreciate this. And you've done this.
That's why you're here.
Just sit up straight. Start to move your right foot.
I am straight.
Now, start to move your right foot clockwise, round and round like that. Now with your right hand, draw a big number 6 in the air. See how your foot went backwards?
Yeah, Dr. Dan.
Well, but this is the point is for your viewers, and you can use this with your kids. You can't afford 1 second of distraction. So if you talk about what professional athletes look at, people in business, if they get themselves off what they're focusing on, well, you said you have to stay in a moment, it shows the importance of identifying your distractions, controlling your distractions, and approaching them in a way that you know you're going to win.
Now, I know you two have met at different breakfasts. You shake each other's hands. I think a breakfast or a lunch is due between you two guys, because he actually started working with children in bereavement, but then later on took on hypnotherapy like you did to add to his repertoire of how he can help people. I want to break away from a little business and all this therapy and all this stuff. Jeannie, we were just talking about Debbie Viola today. And the reason that I smile when I talk to you about Debbie Viola, it's Debbie Viola who introduced us.
That's right.
So can you tell our audience what happens with networking and how many rad things have happened since you met me?
Networking works. It's oh my God,
We were
5
in
years?
Massapequa.
4 or 5 years. We were in Massapequa. And it was Debbie who said, Eugenia, you have to start going to all these evening events. We were in a breakfast morning group, and so she took me by the hand. She started emailing me when various events were, and networking is incredible. It's incredible. The people that you have introduced me to, it's such a small world. We keep running into each other.
Well, I'll tell you how we met. We met at various events, but I had a friend when I started networking on Long Island 12 years ago. I ran into him at an event, and he was half the size he was when I met him.
You know who.
And I looked at him, I said, what happened to you? He said, I went to Eugenia. And I know the power of hypnosis. And I wanted to use that to help me manage my weight at a time. So I came down and we met some remote time in the morning early and went to your office. But I think she's fantastic, because this stuff really works.
You know,
really works.
Last week we had 2 therapists on. Today, just coincidentally, we do 2. And in business, people sometimes wonder, how could you work with competition? Business people know sometimes it's different strokes for different folks.
Absolutely.
And different fields of how you get along. You use it with bereavement. Jeannie used it with weight release and stress release.
I don't use the hypnosis with
sports,
bereavement.
right?
It's more for sports and business. The focus on helping people to be more comfortable going into presentations. I worked with somebody on Saturday who's going into a big, job interview tomorrow. So it's just a different approach, but I don't use it with bereavement.
Yeah. Jeannie, how's the weather out there today on this snowy Monday? Birthday girl.
Not even the rain,
you're
the
late.
sleet, the snow. I had to find my boots. I put them away last week. I had to dig them out again today.
You know who wasn't late? This guy wasn't late. I was a minute late. Donna Drake wasn't late. But what's going on in your community? Anything happening this week in the world of helping Long Islanders?
It's almost April. Tomorrow will be April 1st, and I'm already thinking about Earth Day, and there's a couple of events coming up with Mission B. They have on the beach, there's going to be a big meditation, the Master Shift. You've heard of that, right?
I've heard of it. Yeah. Wasn't that started by a Long Islander?
Christine Ripasiegel, right? And Mission B is with Karen Winter. 2 great organizations. You can look them up on Facebook or their websites and get involved, because if we all get involved as a community, we could spread the message of peace around the world. You
Yeah,
know,
that
this is a
can't be
global.
bad.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, you know, I got permission from Jodi Jacobs for you to be here today.
Thank you,
It was,
Jodi.
I
Yeah,
was
thanks a lot, Jodi.
I was either going to go solo or Jodi gave. She goes, if you have anyone sitting in my chair, the one person you can have is Eugenia Karahalios. So
If I look under the cushion, does it say Jodi Jacobs?
no,
Maybe I'll
no.
sign
It's
my
on the
name
back of the chair.
on the back of the
Gina, I
chair.
got to tell you, I thought about you yesterday. I want you to know why. I read a very interesting article on marriage. And they were saying how when marriage first started, people, you know, to our knowledge of knowing it, people were really just living into their 30s or 40s. So you weren't with one person for forever. You didn't have to stay with them forever. And nowadays, people are living much longer and then staying with each other for decades type of thing. And the article was saying how the expectations may be off, so on and so forth. And the reason I thought of you is, man, I thought of your mom and dad, and I believe they're married 62 years now.
62 years.
They weren't in that article. They should have been, to show
No.
people how to do it right. How did they stay together 62 years? What's their recipe?
They're absolutely adorable. I mean, they still walk on the beach holding hands together. And actually tomorrow, April 1st, is the anniversary of the day they met, even more than 62 years ago. And they met at a dance. And my dad went up to my mom and said, "I'm going to marry you." And she's like, "Oh, ha, 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 April Fools." Okay?
There you
Ha
go.
ha ha, the joke's on
There
you,
you go, there you go.
Mrs. Karahalios. We have 2 minutes to wrap up. I do want to wrap up like this. Man, my mom and dad, I love them. People say, Dave, what did your mom and dad tell you growing up? You know what I said? I said, they didn't tell me anything. They showed me. They showed me every day, getting up to work on time, never missing a day at work, taking us to Cub Scouts, taking my sister to Girl Scouts, whatever it took. Jeannie, on this snowy day, if we could do anything, we'll talk about parents. What did your mom and dad do for you, sweetheart? And then we're coming to you, Mr. Dan.
First thing this morning, my first phone call was from my parents, and I feel so blessed. Dad's 84, Mom's going to be 80 this year, that I still have him in my life. They taught me everything from A to Z.
Dr. Dan, any story on
That's
your
what you
parents,
said,
the importance of mom and dad?
The example, just the way they lived every day, the way they treated people, the way they treated each other.
Some things we didn't all just get this lucky because we just grew up and we're lucky. We got this fortunate because we have loving moms and dads who take care of us, call us to this very day, and all that kind of stuff. Dr. Dan, we have 1 minute. We have to say goodbye to Long Island. What do you got for Long Islanders, buddy?
Just make every day, work every day to gain what you want and to help other people. If you help other people get what they want, you'll get what you want.
Jeannie, we have 45 seconds left. What do you got for Long Islanders in the 3 minutes that you've been with us today?
Okay, I'm going to piggyback on what Dr. Dan said. Every night before you go to bed, make a list of 5 intentions of what you want to achieve the next day, and you'll manifest it. As the last thing on your conscious mind replays in your subconscious mind all night long.
Man, and I'm going to end it with an Abe Lincoln quote. Things may come to those who wait, but only things left over by people who hustle. From hello, Long Island. Goodbye, Long Island. See you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.